Hello, welcome. My name is Andrea Romer. I'm the owner of Andrea Romer Coaching. I'm the creator of the Culture of One, a process that helps nurses thrive in healthcare without seeing anything externally change. Welcome to Finding Your Purpose with Staffing. I'm a practicing ICU nurse, a certified life coach, and a practicing critical care nurse communicator. I just got back from Magnet. I'm incredibly energized by nurses. I know that all of you are incredibly skilled and give so much to the world, and I appreciate you being here. I'm going to jump right in. I will let you in as you come. I will try and leave time for questions. Feel free to use the chat, and I'll pause and catch up if I can. You are here to talk about staffing in nursing. Finding the purpose when it is hard and never done. Maybe you've never thought about staffing the way I'm going to think about it today, and that's okay. When we have a conversation about staffing as nurses, we are having a conversation about how we think, feel, and the actions that we take or do not take. These are the things that create staffing. These conversations shape not only our lives, but the profession as a whole. I want you to get what you came for. So go ahead and have a pen and paper. The Culture of One believes in you and your work, your life every day. Knowing how to treat your mind and body with growth processes and support is essential. I appreciate you. Here are the objectives for this workshop. You will leave thinking differently. You will take comfort that you are and are working with some of the smartest people in the profession, and you are making a difference in the world now. You will implement this immediately into your practice. You will invest in yourself with the processes and support that the Culture of One offers, because you will learn one today. And you will think about investing in support with one-to-one coaching with me. There are a lot of ways that we talk about staffing as nurses. We'll never have enough. We've never had enough. It's never going to happen. It's out of my hands. That thinking blocks us from finding new solutions. How we create new science and new data is by having new ideas. We're not only thinking about the number of staff as an outcome, we're thinking about how you are around staffing. It's not just more recruiting, more hiring, not just travel nursing, not just retention or pay. It's not nurses coming or going. This is about you showing up being you, doing what you do, and giving yourself credit for it so that it shows up in your staffing. If you knew tomorrow that you were going to be fully staffed, what would be different about how you showed up in your work, in your office, in your meeting with your boss? Take a moment and answer that question. I will repeat it. If you knew tomorrow that you were going to be fully staffed, what would be different about how you showed up in your work, your office, your meeting, or with your boss? We wait for being fully staffed, which has probably rarely been the case in healthcare, to show us what to think, feel, and do. The last question is, what do you think stands in your way of being fully staffed? If you want to share those in the chat, please feel free. The best thing about the culture of one is not only we can address our beliefs and feelings about staffing, but we talk about what we think might happen if we continue to not have staffing and how to support ourselves that way. We know that the outcome we want is to have staff, or to have staff that stays, or to have staff that creates the culture you want. I want you to go ahead right now and set staffing, the number or the entity that it is in your mind, to the side. Let's talk about how you did that. It's more of who you are as you do that, as you create staffing. You may only have a vision of the things that make it not possible because you maybe haven't been fully staffed before. Maybe you're not really sure how you replicate staffing, or how you talk about it, or how you think or feel about it. You may also have had a moment there where you did feel like you already were staffed. You had a moment where you were engaged in that vision. It stirred inside of you a feeling that came from thinking this is possible. It's possible. Now that you have this vision in your mind, write these down. This is the process that you are going to be taking with you. And I'm going to share my screen so you can see. You can use this for every part of your life. Today, we're using it for how we think about staffing. This conversation is about how we think, feel, and what we do or don't do. And here's how it works. Number one, mindset: clear, calm, concise. Non-negotiable self-care, number two. Focused priorities, number three. These do not change orders. These can be used for any goal. Today, the goal that we set aside that would be at the top of that list is staffing. And at the bottom, the result, staffing. You might have thought that you were going to come and I was going to talk to you about how to recruit. Well, I am. It's about how you think about recruiting. What happens to you when you think about recruiting? Does it make you jump off the dock and throw yourself in the deep end and feel defensive and yucky and skip your lunch? That's what we want to avoid. And focus priorities. You can't think about every aspect of staffing every day and expect to find a solution. So we're going to focus that down on our priorities. If you think I'm telling you to do extra work finding staff, I am not. That is not a clear mindset. You might know me. You might have heard that I work at a high level. This is a result of my mindset, or my thinking, my non-negotiable self-care, and focused priorities. I make decisions from this place. Here's some of the thinking that drives me. I make an impact every day. I am a temple. I am an example of what's possible. These can work in regards to staffing for you. They might bring up all the things that you think that you don't do. We'll touch on that in a minute. You might be thinking that you have to do more. You want to do less. You want to do the three things: mindset, clear, calm, non-negotiable self-care, and focused priorities. Especially if you're a woman, we are conditioned to believe that we do everything. That's why sometimes we get lost in everything. I hear this from my clients all the time. I'm expected to do everything. We want to walk that back. When you have a clear mindset, non-negotiable self-care and focused priorities, you chunk it down. You put people in their right places. You find people to do things for you. You think clearly. Your work can be emotionally demanding, and we leave little space for that. What we're not doing, and is really what I'm asking you to do today, to stop doing certain things and start doing these three things. Make space for this process. We often don't leave space for us in the emotionally demanding work we do, especially if we feel like we're harming our staff, they can't get what they need, that's your responsibility, you're doing something wrong. We then expect ourselves to do every task, focus on every single thing, and then go home, do the same thing, and come back and do it again. Just asking you to think differently. Just like at the bedside, there will be troubleshooting. You'll start using this process, your plan won't work, and you'll need to troubleshoot. Now, at the bedside, we never think that's a problem. We're going to need to troubleshoot for sure with a sick patient, but we make it mean really something about us when we have to troubleshoot in this process. Things that we do not intend or plan ahead of time do not get created. When we put our attention, we create, just being honest. What we put our attention to, we create. The everything takes us out of intention. And then we're like, what happened? I'm in this career, not making an impact, not doing my job with staffing. What's going on? I mean, there's no problem with that. That is frustration. That is despair. That happens. And then we switch to the possibility that we can focus in on a mindset that works for us. This process will support you. Nothing without an intention. You want to be able to focus on your people you serve at work, and you want to be focused on your life when you're not at work. As you use this process, mindset, non-negotiable self-care, and focused priorities, you are creating from abundance as you go. I'm going to pause for some questions. We have any? Yes. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. You know I have really nothing to teach you as far as how great you are at your job. My whole work is just to help you take a step back and build a new skill, which is the skill of using our minds and our body and self-care to have focused priorities. I'm just a process teacher. And you're skilled at everything that has to do with your unit and your processes. We're just fine-tuning that, my friends. As I learned and created this process, the self-care I afforded myself, the energy that I had for my families, my coworkers, my patients, increased so much by planning and preparing what I wanted, being focused and available for myself. I've seen my clients use this in a day or two after we talk about this. They have a clearer mindset. They're more in tune with their body and self-care and have focused priorities, which causes them to see themselves meet their goals. It gets them evidence. It's trying this process. And I'm just going to be honest here. If you think you don't have the time or the interest to try clear, calm mindset and thinking, being non-negotiable with your self-care and having focused priorities, then you won't be purposeful with staffing. You eventually will. It'll just take more time. I want to touch back to these innocent thoughts that we think are helpful but actually aren't. And if you feel called out here, please don't, because I've been here and I'm always still here. I'm human. We're all going to go here. some of these innocent thoughts that cushion and buffer for our nervous system when we want to start to trade these in. And I'm going to teach you how to build belief in a couple minutes. But here's some of these innocent thoughts. No one knows how to find all the nurses they need. The staff I find does not stay or doesn't work out. Nothing has worked in the past. I need to be able to offer more than night shift. I'll just burn out focusing on this. My family needs me, so I can't be thinking about this at home. This is not sustainable. All of this thinking, it's all mindset that we're used to thinking, and it's very innocent. We believe it to be true. And in some ways it is, but it blocks you from creative thinking. In the culture of one, if we were working together, you would learn cycling in and out of doing hard things, opening and closing doors to different pathways that you need. So I'd love to talk more with you about that one-on-one. What you're lacking right now is the capacity for adding staffing potential, because you want to clean up your mindset, make your self-care non-negotiable, and have focused priorities. Now, you might also be wondering, like, what's self-care here? Well, when you're thinking that you're short-staffed, and when you're thinking that you're not giving your staff what they need because they had more call-ins, and then what do? I mean, what you do then is you usually add more work, or you become paralyzed. You take away things from yourself to give more to others. And we have to give more to ourselves. We have to be non-negotiable for that. And that's what I mean by self-care. You know, you might skip your lunch to go try to make people feel better about staffing, when what I'm asking you to do is take that lunch and use this process. So I want to talk about the difference between physical fatigue and emotional fatigue, because for me, it was a really big learning curve, especially when learning new skills. And this is a skill you're learning about not waiting, engaging your nervous system, and thinking about your mindset. We often get to the end of the day and we're like, I'm just too tired. That might be the case. You might be emotionally tired. And so sometimes on those days, we need to be like, well, I need a mental health day from thinking about staffing. And then that becomes every day. And then you don't find solutions. That's where you check in with your body and you say, well, body, do I have the gas in the tank physically? Yeah, you probably do. How can you support yourself emotionally to spend a few minutes on this process without being like, I'm just too physically tired? That's really a way to check in. And some days it's going to be a day where you're like, I need an emotional pass on this. But if that's every day, then you're not going to create more staffing. Wah, wah. And so that's a really good way to check in. I had to like really learn that skill. I want you to edit your priorities around staffing. You can't fill every position right now. Can't focus on every single thing. Can't focus on all the tasks. But our brain will make us think that we have to. I want you to leave drama and vagueness behind. I'm going to just pause here for questions. The better we think, the more staff we create. Because staffing is a conversation, not about staffing. It's about what we're thinking, what we're feeling, and what we're doing or not doing. And I've given you the process for this. Let's talk about belief. You're going to be building belief that this process will work for you, or that staffing is in your control. It's not actually, but the process that creates staff and then shows you more evidence, just like science, is in your control. You can make a goal and reach it. You may have a very low belief in your ability to have staff as you want them. It's okay. You build belief by using the belief you already have. I'll demonstrate one. You have 100% belief that you can pour a glass of water. You have 100% belief that when you get to your office, you'll be able to get into it. You'll know how to get to work. Those have just been put into you over time. So building belief for anything takes trying and seeing evidence, and it starts with your thinking. You don't believe that you make an impact with staffing or on staffing every single day. You have to start with trying it out, following my 3 steps. You may not believe that you will ever have staff enough or extra staff. It's okay. If you did believe it, you would have already created it. Believing new things feels like nothing in our body if we just aren't going to start heading towards a goal. That's why this process is helpful. Things and goals we commit to, new things we believe in, when we don't believe in them and they're hard, feel squishy in our body. Getting staffing actions on the books feels because you're like, it's not going to be enough. I don't know what I'm doing. That is normal. That's building belief because you have to think one way to do a new thing. This might even mean just spending 5 minutes by yourself. This might mean when your staff is distressed about call-ins, you don't go out and try to placate them. You sit and think about priorities, about what to actually think about this. This is okay. They're okay. I'm okay. This might not be checking emails. It might be about thinking creatively about staffing. It's what you don't do right now. So list 5 things right now that you haven't done for staffing. As you go through this week and you're trying this process, you're going to feel doubt and fear and not calm in your body. It's your calm thinking that you want to have. Andrea said that when I'm building belief, it's going to feel squishy. Yes. And if you're not, then I know that you're not trying. And I say that in the kindest way. You're going to need to get uncomfortable. Now, for nurses, getting uncomfortable in our body is courage, but it feels in our body. It feels like trauma or stress that maybe we've had in the past at the bedside. And our body can't differentiate between that. So your mind might be in the mindset of, I can do this. I know I make an impact, and your body's like, oh, it feels really bad. And so your mind and body have to get closer together. You have to say, okay, body, you feel uncomfortable. You can't differentiate between trauma of when I had that code or how discomfort feels as I'm trying something new. Your mind has to be kind to you and say, come on, body, it's okay. We're learning. We're learning. We don't like learning new things. It takes energy and it takes patience. We learn so many new things, but this is where I'm asking you to be mindful of this. This is non-negotiable self-care, how you speak to yourself, how you notice your mind and body. Take some time today to appreciate the nurse you are, how good work you do. Appreciate the staff you have this week. Focus on the skills you have. Appreciate how good you are at building relationships quickly, because you know you are. You know you. A clear mindset does not speak meanly to ourselves. It does not beat ourselves up. It starts to shift from solving problems from lack to appreciation, problem solving. Yeah, I beat myself up. And then I remind myself that, nope, that's not what we do. That's not what we do. And I work with clients one-on-one. So the last thing, I would love for you to write this down because you really could share this with your staff. You know, you could look at this and remember this day to day, sometimes hour to hour. Give the value of what you have more space, babies, in your mind. Yeah. Make building belief a priority as much as tearing down belief. Imagine the staff you have now and what it affords. The impact you give to the world in exchange for staff. Think about the amazing person that you are. You are an incredible nurse. You do a job that has impact on so many people and on the future. So thank you. And I know nurse bodies have a hard time holding or even identifying appreciation. I'll tell you why. Because when we feel really, truly appreciated, it's as hard to hold that feeling in our body as courage or trauma or stress. And that's a shift. I can't thank you enough for being here. And I would love to connect with you one-on-one. I do free consults so we could strategize more about this and really get you some support. www.romercoaching.com, the culture of one. And I know that you are doing everything right. I don't know more than you, but I sure know that treating yourself and your mind and body with the right supporting processes is essential. So thank you. Thank you. I'll see you again.